Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to the Rustic Vaughn Lodge. And so today we're going to be talking about Star Trek, specifically Book Trek 2021, which is an event that myself and some other booktubers are doing. It was created by Vin at Revenant Reads, Book Trek 2021, and a few of us are doing it. And basically, Book Trek 2021 is a 5-month mission. And each month we're going to be reading books based on a specific Star Trek series. This month is the original series. Next month will be the Next Generation, followed by Deep Space Nine, followed by Voyager, followed by Enterprise. So we're reading books about that particular series, depending on the month. And this month it's the original series. And I decided I had to get a Book Trek video out because it's already, what is it, the 5th or the 6th? Something like that. It changes every day. And so I had to get a video out for Book Trek 2021 because I hadn't yet. And so the books that I'm reading are the first Star Trek books that were put out. It was a series of paperbacks that were written by James Blish that he adapted from episodes. I'm reading them in the Star Trek Readers. This was a series of 4 hardcovers that collected 11 of the 12 paperbacks that were produced. They started, that series started from James Blish while the television show was still on. And the book that I read today was Star Trek II, which is the first book in this volume. For some reason, in this volume, the Star Trek Reader, the first book is Star Trek II, the second book is Star Trek III, and the third book is Star Trek VIII. Star Trek II, no relation to Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Star Trek II was the second paperback book that was collecting adaptations of the episodes. And the Star Trek Readers, I bought these books about a year ago just out of pure nostalgia. Because when I was a little kid, I used to read these in my local library. And I loved them. So I had no idea when I was going to get back to them, but Star Trek, Book Trek 2021 is the perfect excuse to read these. So I read a book today, Star Trek II. It has adaptations of Arena, A Taste of Armageddon, Tomorrow is Yesterday, Errand of Mercy, Court Martial, Operation Annihilate, The City on the Edge of Forever, and Spacey. And it was interesting to read these. Now, I love Star Trek. The original series is my favorite Star Trek series. I really like Star Trek The Next Generation a lot, too. But I probably still like the original series best. When I was a little kid, I would watch Star Trek all the time. Loved Star Trek. I don't even know when I first saw Star Trek. For me, Star Trek has always existed. And I was always watching Star Trek as a little kid. Every time it came on television, I was watching it. I must have seen all those episodes 100 times. Love them. Love all the characters. Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, Dr. McCoy, Sulu, Uhura, all of them. Love them all. I even like the bad episodes of Star Trek, and there were a few. And so I'm happy to read this. It's interesting to read these books, or to read this book as an adult. I haven't read these since I was a kid. One thing that I noticed right away, now the first thing that I'm reading here, the Star Trek II, which I read today, that came out while the show was still on the air. I'm not sure how many episodes of Star Trek James Blish actually watched. I'm not sure how much he knew about Star Trek when he started writing these. They're decent adaptations, one or the other. They're decent. As short stories, they work pretty well, actually. They're quick little stories. The writing is pretty thin, but that's fine. But there are some odd things about them. There are things that just aren't right. which we know as Star Trek fans, they're easy to spot. One of my favorites is, let's see if I could find it. There's Arena. Where is Errand of Mercy? 39. Let me find it. Sorry, I should have marked this out, but I didn't. Okay, yeah, here we go. So this is him talking about Klingons. This is James Blish talking about Klingons. The Klingons were hard-faced, hard-muscled men, originally of Oriental stock. What? And in the same story, he does mention that the Klingons have a Klingon homeworld. Oriental stock? What's he talking about? So I don't know that James Blish really knew what a Klingon was. Yeah, that's odd. Obviously, Klingons are aliens from another planet. He seems to think Klingons were settlers from Earth, I guess, who settled on the Klingon homeworld. I don't know. Obviously, he doesn't know what a Klingon is. The version of the story that he has in here is actually pretty good. He does a good job with it. It's not the most finely written thing you'll find, but it's good enough. It's entertaining. But that's one of the oddities that you'll see in these stories that he does based on the shows. That was weird. And there are a few other weird moments like that. I guess it's all part of the fun. I'm not going to criticize it too hard. I knew what I was getting when I started reading these. Yeah, there are some moments like that. Another thing I noticed, the first story in here is Arena. They credit the screenwriter of Arena, Gene Coon, but nowhere, that was based on a story which I believe was written by Frederick Brown. If I'm wrong about that, I'll put it in the text down below. But I'm pretty sure it was based on a story by Frederick Brown, Arena, written in the 40s, I think 44, if memory serves. And Frederick Brown is not credited at all in this. That story was also I think that was also an Outer Limits episode. I think they made an Outer Limits episode on that story as well. I'll have to check that later. Again, probably should have checked that before I just hit record, but you know how much preparation I put into videos. So, yeah, so this is fun. They're quick reads, so I think I'll be able to get through this book pretty quick. I'll be able to get through all 4 of them pretty quick. Not too much to these. So I'm going to have a good time reading them, talking about them. Spock Must Die will be interesting. I don't think I've ever read that novel before. I know it's supposed to be pretty bad. At least according to Steve Donoghue. But Steve Donoghue has a tendency to be a little critical, which I guess is good if you're a critic, which he is. But we'll see. I'll read it because it is the first Star Trek novel. Like I said, these are the first Star Trek fiction books that ever existed. One of the reasons I was kind of interested in reading them for the original series. Other notable things, The City on the Edge of Forever is interesting because there are some differences in that story from the show. Well, I guess all of the versions of the stories in here have some minor differences because they're all based on the original shooting scripts. And some of the details changed when they actually made them into episodes. As a story, The City on the Edge of Forever was probably the best part of the book I read today, Star Trek II. That is a tremendously great episode based on a Harlan Ellison script. Famously, the script was changed quite a bit from Harlan Ellison's original. I've never read Harlan Ellison's original script. So James Blish said in his little introduction to this story, or the note to that story, that he did incorporate some elements of Harlan Ellison's original version into the story. But I don't know how much because I haven't read Harlan Ellison's original script for the story. But it was good. It works as a short story in here. So I was pretty happy with what I read. It was fun. It's fun to experience these episodes in a different way. There are some things, like I said, that there are scenes that are just missing. There are a few scenes from the episodes that are missing. There's some things that James Blish just cruises right through. He'll jump through a scene with just minor description. And yeah, writing's a little thin here and there. But again, I enjoyed it. So tomorrow I'll read book 3 and probably book 8 after that. And then I'll get to the second Star Trek reader. I'll probably try to put a Star Trek 2021 episode up, or episode video up once a week. Keep up with Book Trek 2021. And hopefully I will get to some other Star Trek books on top of these. There are a couple other ones that I want to read. I actually am interested in reading Star Trek The Motion Picture, which apparently is a good book, oddly named, but apparently it's pretty good. So yeah, that was a book that was actually written by Gene Roddenberry, apparently. So that in itself will make it an interesting read. So, Book Trek 2021. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm going to put some links down below to some other Book Trek 2021 videos. There are a few out there. And I will catch you next time. Catch me here at the Rustic Fawn Lodge tomorrow, where, barring accident or incident, I should have a review of Necroscope up. Okay, I'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.